Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we'll be learning how to make this trendy shirt dress. So if you're here to subscribe, please endeavor to subscribe, turn on the notification bell. A lot will be coming up on this page, so let's get started. Okay guys, so the material we'll be needing today, we'll be needing a shirt fabric. Okay, I have about 3 yards here, and then we'll also be needing a collar stay, a shirt button. Okay, also need a shirt button and also a press button. We'll also be needing a press button, so these are what we'll be needing for this particular shirt tutorial. Okay guys, so for the pattern, I already drafted out the pattern, so I'm going to explain every details on this pattern. So before starting, this is just like our normal way of basic bodice, just a little alteration. So I added 3 inches. This is for the button stand. Okay, so I added 3 inches, and then for my neck depth I went down by 3.5 inches. Okay, so for my shoulder line, my shoulder divided by 2, which is 7, then I added 1/2 inch. Okay, that is, I use 7.5 instead of 7 for my shoulder. Okay, so from my shoulder to my chest line is 7.5 inch, so I added extra 1 inch because we are making a shirt. So whatever you use as your shoulder to chest line, if it is 6, add extra 1 to make it 7. If it is 7, add 1 to make it 8. So on my chest line, I added my round ball circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch for ease before adding 1 inch for allowance. Okay, so this is my side dart. I added my side dart on my bust point. Okay, and then this particular one, I usually use 4 as my waist dart. So this is the 4 inches. I just came in by 4, so this is the 4 inches, and then this is my waistline. So on my waistline, I divided my round waist circumference by 4, then I added extra 1 inch as ease, and then added another 1 inch as my allowance. So my hip line, I did the same thing. My hip circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch for ease and extra 1 inch as allowance. And then on my knee line, I did the same thing. I transferred my round hip circumference back to the knee line because it's short, so it's straight. You don't need to make it pencil. So the length I'm using for this particular shirt is 23. Okay, so I'm using 23 plus 1 inch as my allowance, which is this. So that is that for the front pattern. Okay, so for the back pattern is the same thing I did. For the neckline, I came down by 1.5 inch. And then on my chest line, just the same way with the front, I divided my round bust circumference by 4, then plus 1 inch for ease, then before 1 inch so in allowance. So it's literally the same thing with the front. Okay, the only difference is actually the side dart and our button stand. So what we are going to do now, we are going to go ahead and then cut that at this point. Okay, so this is my neckline, so I won't be leaving this part. Okay, so this is it for the front, and then this is it for the back. So what we are going to do is we are going to transfer this to our fabric. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay guys, so it's a shirt. Okay, so the back pattern, we are going to place your fabric on fold while cutting out the back pattern. Okay, so I'm just going to pin down and then I'll cut out. Okay guys, so this is it for the back pattern. Okay, so I place my fabric on fold because it's a shirt, so the back should be on fold. So I'm going to cut out the front pattern. I place my fabric on fold also because I want to cut 2 pieces at a go. Okay, pin it down like this and then cut out. So this is it for the front pattern. Okay, so I'm going to transfer this side dart to the main fabric. So I'm just going to put the needle on the 3 points that the side dart is. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over and then mark them out. Okay, so then come over here, do the same thing. Okay. So when I'm done, I'll take off the paper, remove the line. Okay, so this is it for my side darts. Turn over to the other side and then do the same thing. Okay, so this is it. So guys, remember we added 3 inches as our button stand, so we are going to add collar stay to that point. So cut out a collar stay and then we are going to add it at the right side of the fabric. Okay, so this is my collar stay. Okay, so I'm going to add it like this. I'm just going to iron it on the shirt, like I said, the right side. Okay guys, so when you're done, remember I said we added 3 inches. So what you are going to do, you are going to measure 1.5 inch, because we are going to fold in by 1.5 inch. So measure 1.5 inch and then mark, and then measure out another 1.5 inch and then also mark. Okay, so this is the 3 inches. So what we are going to do, we are going to also come back to the down parts. Okay, so do the same thing. Measure your 1.5 inch like this, mark, and then measure another 1.5 inch and then mark also. Okay, so when you're done doing this, what you are going to do, you're going to notch a little, like very small. Don't notch it too much, just small. Okay, then go ahead, do the same thing with the down part, notch and then notch. So when you're done doing that, fold the first 1.5 inch like this and then iron out. I said fold the first 1.5 inch and then iron out. Okay, so this is it. What you are going to do, you are going to fold to the second one. Okay, so this is the second 1.5 inch, so you are going to fold it this way. Okay, so fold the second one to the second 1.5 inch, make it straight. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so when you're done, go ahead and then iron out. Okay, when you are done ironing, you know the front is actually 2, so you are going to do the same thing with the second one. Okay, so when you're done, we are going to go ahead and then top stitch at this point by 0.1. Okay, so do the same thing with the second piece. Okay guys, so I did the same thing with the second piece. Okay, so this is the first piece. Okay, and then this is the second piece. So I did the same thing. So now what we are going to do, we are going to go over to our machine. Okay, and then top stitch at this point by 0.1. Okay, so let's go over to the machine and do that now. Okay guys, so when we are done with both pieces, we are going to go ahead and then top stitch by 0.1. Okay. Okay guys, so this is it. So we are going to do the same thing with the second piece. Okay, so also go ahead and then top stitch. Okay guys, so this is it. Okay, so what we are going to do next now, we are going to sew our darts. Okay, so what you are going to do, you are going to measure 1 inch from this point. Okay, so measure 1 inch. So you are going to stop at 1 inch before the main point. So I'm going to go ahead and then stitch this now. Okay, you're going to stop at 1 inch before the main point. Okay, so do the same thing with the second piece. Stop at 1 inch before the main point. So I'm going to do the same thing with the second piece. So the next thing you're going to do, you're going to join it shoulder to shoulder, right side facing the right side. Okay, so join it shoulder to shoulder, right side facing the right side. So I'm going to mark at 1/2 inch. Okay, so when you're done, I'm going to do the same thing with this side. Join also shoulder to shoulder, right side facing the right side. Like this. Okay, after joining both sides shoulder to shoulder like this, so what we are going to do next, we are going to turn it over and then join the back and front together by the side by 1 inch. Okay, remember we added 1 inch as our sewing allowance, so we are going to join at the side by 1 inch. So when we are done joining by 1 inch on both sides, so we are going to go ahead and then iron out very well. Okay guys, so after ironing, what we are going to do next, we are going to take our round neckline circumference. Okay, so measure your round neckline from this point like this. Okay, like this, like this, like this. Okay, so what I have here is 18.5 inches, so I'm going to go over and remeasure to be very sure. So do the same thing, measure over and over to make sure that you are having the same figure. Okay, it's still 18.5. Okay, so we are going to use that measurement to create our collar. Okay, so when you're done taking your round neck circumference, what we are going to do, you are going to get a paper. Okay, get your pattern paper and then you're going to fold it into two. Fold it into two like this. So when you're done folding into two, you're going to take your round neck circumference, you're going to divide it by 2 because this paper is on fold. So whatever yours is divided by 2. So 18.5 divided by 2 will give me 9.2. So I'm going to go ahead and then mark the 9.2 here. Okay. So from that 9.2, I'm going to go upwards by 1.25. Okay. So that is my collar width. 1.25, so I'm going to also mark 1.25 here. Okay, then I'm going to connect it together like this. So guys, this is it. So after connecting, what you are going to do at this point, you are going to go inward by 1/2 inch. Okay, go inward by 1/2 inch, and then from that point just create a curve like this. Okay, just create a curve like this. When you're done with that, the next thing you are going to do after creating the curve, the next thing you are going to do from this point, okay, we are going to go inward by 1 inch. From this point, go inward by 1 inch like this. Okay, so the collar, my collar height, I want to make the height 2.5 inch. Okay, so from that 1 inch point, go up by 2.5 inch like this. Okay, I went in by 1 inch from this point. From this point, I went in by 1 inch, and from this point, I went up by 2.5 inches. Okay, so whatever you have here, okay, remember we measured 1.25, so we are going to take the same measurement up like this. Take it up 1.25 also. So when you're done doing that, connect a straight line like this. Okay, so connect the straight line like this, and then after connecting the straight line, go out by 1/2 inch like this. Okay, so when you're done going out by half inch, connect it back to this point like this, and then get your curve ruler, connect from this point down to the 1.25 we came down with before, like this. Okay, so this is it for our collar. So what you're going to do now, you're going to go ahead and then cut out. Okay, so this is how you're going to cut out, like this. Okay, then cut out like this. Okay, so this is it. So what we are going to do now, this is it for the collar. Okay. Okay, so what we are going to do now, we are going to transfer this to our fabric. So when you're done cutting out, we're going to transfer this to our fabric. So we are cutting 2 pieces for each. So I'm going to fold this into 2. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and then pin it down. When you're done pinning it down, you're going to add half inch round. So just go ahead and add your half inch as a sewing allowance like this. Okay, so when you're done doing that, go ahead and cut out. We're also going to do the same thing with this. So we are going to cut 2 pieces for 2. So go ahead and pin down. When you're done, go ahead and cut out. Okay, so when you're done, this is it. So this is it when we are done. Okay guys, so you know we cut out 2 each. Okay, it's 2 cut out. So I'm going to add stay to this 2. Okay, I'm just going to add stay to this 2 and then I'll leave out these 2. So I'm adding stay to just these 2. So what I did, I used the normal pattern before adding half inch to cut out the stay. Okay, so I'm going to place it like this. Okay, so I'm going to place it like this. I'm going to do the same thing with this also. So I'm going to go ahead and then iron. So when you're done with that, what we are going to do, this is it. You're going to place it right side facing the right side. Okay, remember we added stay to only one part of it. So only one piece of it. So what you are going to do now, we are going to join by half inch like this. Join by half inch and then join by half inch by the side. So guys, we are going to go ahead and then join by half inch. So as you can see here, I already marked out my half inch. So I'm just going to go ahead and then stitch. Okay, join this point also by half inch. And do the same thing here. After stitching, this is it. So we'll sew the top by half inch and both sides by half inch. So what we are going to do, we're going to turn this over like this. And then iron out very well. This is it after ironing. Okay, so this is it. So what we are going to do, now, remember we added stay also to this particular one. So what we are going to do, we are going to hem by half inch. Remember this is the down part. So it's the down part that we are hemming by half inch. So I'm going to use my hemming comb. So this is it after hemming. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do, we are going to get this particular one. Okay, then fold it into 2. Go ahead and then notch the midpoint. Okay, so do the same thing with this. Okay, so notch the midpoint. And then take this other part also, do the same thing. Then notch the midpoint. Okay. Okay, so here are the 3 pieces after notching. So what you are going to do, this first one that has no collar stay on it, you're going to place it like this. Okay, so you're going to place it like this, and then you're going to take this particular one and then place it notch to notch like this. Okay, notch to notch, place it notch to notch, and then take this part that we hem the down by 1/2 inch that also has collar stay on it, place it like this. Okay, so what we are going to do now, we are going to sew by 1/2 inch like this, okay. Okay guys, so this is how I place it. Okay, so this one is in between. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and then sew by 1/2 inch. Remember to leave out quarter of an inch. Let's adjust that. Okay, like I said, leave out a space here. You can see it. I did not start from the beginning. Okay guys, so this is it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn it over like this, okay. Okay guys, so this is it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and then iron out, so you do the same thing too. Okay guys, so this is it after ironing. So what we are going to do now, we are going to add this collar. So before we add it, we are going to fold into 2 like this and then notch the center line. Okay, so when you're done notching, you're going to open it up. So what we are going to do now, this is the right side. Okay, so this part that we did not add collar stay to, we are going to place the knot. Remember, we notch, so you are going to place it notch to notch like this. Okay, so you're going to place it like this. Then I'm just going to pin down. I already marked out my 1/2 inch. Okay, so I'm going to join by 1/2 inch. So when you're sewing collar, always start from the center, okay, to the side, and then from this center also to the other end. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Okay guys, so this is it. Okay, so I already stitched to the end, so I'm going to turn over to the other side and then do the same thing. Okay guys, so this is it after stitching. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go ahead and then turn it over like this, and then we are going to top stitch. Okay, so just top stitch like this. So this is it after adding collar. Okay, so this is it. So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to take the armhole circumference. Okay, so get your measuring tape and then measure your round armhole circumference. Okay, so just take your round armhole circumference like this. Okay. Okay, so what I have here is 20. Okay, so do the same. Measure your round armhole circumference. So we are going to use that measurement to draft out pattern for the sleeve. Okay, so just go ahead and do that. So after taking our round armhole circumference, so what you're going to do, from the top of your paper like this, turn down by 2 inches. You can just create a line like this, and then also come down like this. Okay. So when you are done doing that, the next thing you are going to do, you are going to measure your shoulder to elbow. Okay, so mine is 14, so I'm going to mark my 14 inches here, and then I will create a line like this. Okay, and then I will label as my elbow. Okay, so when you're done doing that, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to take from your shoulder to your wrist. Okay, so my shoulder to wrist is 24, but because of the particular pattern we are trying to create for the sleeve, I'm going to be using 22. So whatever yours is, minus 2 inches from it. Okay, so I'm going to label this as my wrist. Okay, so this is my wrist. When you're done, so the next thing we are going to do, remember we measured our round armhole for the shirt. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to divide that by 3. Okay, so whatever it is, divide it by 3, then minus 0.5, that is half inches from it. Okay, so mine is 20, divide by 3, and then I'm going to minus half inches from it. So after doing that, I have 6.1 inches left. So what I'm going to do, from this point, I'm going to come down by 6.1. Okay, so after coming down by 6.1, I'm going to create a line like this. Okay, so this is now, this distance now will not be my cap height. Okay, so after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do, my biceps, I'm going to divide it by 2. So whatever your bicep is, divide it by 2. So my bicep is 13.5, so this is 13.5. Okay, so I'm going to divide it by 2, so I'm going to fold my tape now into 2. Whatever I have left, I'll measure it to this side like this. I'll mark it like this, and then to the other side I will also mark like this. Okay, so when I'm done, I'm going to connect it back to this point like this, and then connect the other side also like this. Okay, so when you're done doing that, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to measure your wrist. Okay, so whatever your wrist circumference is, divide it by 2. So mine is 9, so I'm going to fold my tape into 2 like this. Okay, so whatever I have left, I'm going to measure it. Okay, so mine is 9 divided by 2. I will now be left with 4.5 inches on both sides, 4.5 inches on the other side. So after doing that, what you are going to do next, your air bone. Okay, so your air bone, you are going to measure it. So whatever it is, you are going to also divide it by 2. So mine is 11.5. I'm going to fold my tape to that point like this. Then I'm going to mark it. This is my 11.5. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing there. Okay, so when you're done doing this, the next thing you're going to do, we're going to connect from your wrist to your air bone like this. Okay, so do the same thing here. Also connect from the wrist to the air bone like this. Then get your curve ruler. You are going to connect from the air bone to your bicep. Okay, so get your curve ruler. Don't make it too deep. And then just connect like this. Okay, so when you're done, go over to the other side and then do the same thing. Connect also. So when you're done doing that, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to label this point as 0, label this point as 1, then label this point as 2, then label this point as 3. So this is the back. Label here also as the back. Then label this point also as the front. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do now, we are going to find the midpoint of 1 and 2. Remember, I asked us to label this point as 1, label this point as 2. Okay, so what we are going to do now, we are going to find the midpoint of 1 and 2. Okay, so I have 9.1 inch here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold my tape now to that point like this. Okay, so whatever I have left, I'm going to measure it as my midpoint. Okay, so after taking that midpoint, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come down by ½ inches at that point like this, and then I'm going to create a line. I'm going to create a line like this, and I'm going to label it as 4. Okay, so after labeling as 4, I'm going to go ahead and then connect it back to the cap height like this. Okay, and then do the same thing, take it back to number 2 like this. Okay, so when you're done with that, the next thing you are going to do, the same thing here. Find the midpoint of 1 and 3. Okay, so what we did here, we are going to do it here. Find the midpoint of 1 and 3. So these are 1 and 3. So what I have here is also 9.1. So I'm going to also fold that into 2 to find the midpoint. Okay, so whatever I have left, I'm going to tick it, and then from that point I'm going to go out by ½ inches also. Okay, so I'm going to go out by ½ inches, and then I'm going to connect it like this, and then also do the same thing, go back to connect back to the cap height, and then come down to number 3 like this. When you're done doing that, you're going to label this point as number 5. So this is now your number 5. When you're done doing that, you're going to find the midpoint of 4 and 2. Okay, these are 4 and 2. So you're going to find the midpoint of 4 and 2. So place your tape like this. Okay, this is 4.5. So I'm going to fold my tape to that 4.5 inch like this. So whatever I have left, I'm going to tick it. Okay, so this is now my midpoint. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go inward by 0.3, and then I'm going to create a line like this, and then I'm going to label that 0.6. Okay, so after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to find the midpoint of 1 and 4. Okay, find the midpoint of 1 and 4. So this is it. It's also 4.5 inches. So I'm going to fold my tape also to that point. So whatever I have, I'm going to measure it here. So I'm going to tick it here, and then I will go out by 0.5. This is my 0.5. So I'm going to create a line to that point. I'm going to label as 7. Do the same thing here. Find the midpoint of 1 and 5. Okay, this is also 4.5. So whatever you have, fold your tape to that point also, and then tick whatever you have left, which is this point. So I'm going to go out by 0.5 like this. So I'm going to create a line. Okay, and then I will label that point as 8. Then I'm going to do the same thing, find the midpoint of 5 and 3 like this. This is also 4.5. So this is my midpoint. Okay, so I'm going to come down from that point also by 0.3. Then I'm going to create a line, and then I'll mark that point as 9. Then I'm going to take my curve line, connect from 1 to 7 back to 4. So this is it. Just connect from 1. Make sure you hit the 7 point, and then take it down to 4. Okay, like this. So when you're done doing that, you're going to connect from 4 through 6 to 2. You're going to connect like this. Okay, so when you're done doing that, the next thing you're going to do, you're going to do the same thing here. So connect from 1 to 8 like this, and then down to 5. Okay, so when you're done, go over and do the same thing from 5 to 9 and down to 3 like this. Okay, so when you're done doing this, this is basically all for your sleeve. So all you need to do is to add your allowance. So I'm going to go add here by 1 inch as my sewing allowance, then come down to my elbow. I'm going to add 1 inch, then to my wrist I'll add 1 inch. Okay, so when you're done with that, just the same way you connected previously, do the same thing. Okay, so when you're done doing that, go ahead and then add half inch at the top. On the wrist, just add ½ inch. So just add your ½ inch allowance at this point, then connect it down. So paper, scissors, and then cut out. So this is it for the sleeve. Don't go ahead and then cut out on your main fabric. So you're going to take the measurement of this point, okay, including the allowance. So what I have here is exactly 11. So I'm going to fold on bias. So after folding on bias, take the measurement of the wrist. Okay, so this is 11. I'm going to add extra 3 inches. So 11 plus 3, 14. So 14 divided by 2 will be 7, because this is on fold. So I'm going to measure 7 inches inwards like this. So wherever 7 inches is, okay, so I'm going to mark my 7 inches. So this is my 7 inches. Okay, so from that point, I'm just going to connect it like this. Just connect it like this. This is your 7 inches. This is my 7 inch. Okay, so remember my measurements. My shoulder to wrist is 24. So I minus 2 inch. That is, I use 22. So I will have to add the 2 inches now, and then add extra 4 inches. Okay, that is in total. I'm going to add 6 inches. So I'm going to measure like this. Okay, so after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and then cut out. After cutting out at that point, so whatever you want to use to hem, add it as your allowance. So I want to use 1 inch for hemming. So I'm going to add 1 inch. Okay, so this is it. I'm going to cut 2 pieces because it's for both sleeves. Okay, so guys, this is it. So what we are going to do, we are going to go ahead and sew. So this is the wrist. Okay, this is the bias cutting. I added extra 3 inches. As you can see, it's longer than. So what we are going to do, we are going to go ahead and pleat. Okay, so this is it. After pleating, what we are going to do, we are going to join by ½ inch. So when we are done, we're going to fold it to the side like this, and then pin down. To sew by 1 inch. So we are going to attach this to the dress. So this is my dress. So what I'm going to do now, this is the armhole. I'm going to take one of the sleeves. So I'm going to fold it like this. Just fold it into two like this, and then notch the center point. When you're done notching, what you are going to do, that notch part, you're going to place it on the shoulder like this. Okay, right side facing the right side, and then you're going to pin down. Okay, so pin it round like that. Okay, so when you're done pinning, so go ahead and then sew it round by ½ inches. So this is it after joining. Okay, do the same thing with the second sleeve. So we are going to head over to the ironing board and then iron out. So when you're done attaching the sleeve, go ahead and then iron out very well. After ironing, what we are going to do, we are going to create a fancy pocket. Okay. So what we are going to do, more like a wet pocket. Okay, so I'm going to use 5 inches. Okay, so make sure you can use any length, it depends on you. So I'm going to use 5 inches. I'm going to use 5 inches, and then I'm going to use width of 3 inches. I'm just going to connect it like this. Like this. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and then cut this out on my fabric. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold this into 2. Then I'm going to fold it up like this. Okay, so when you're done doing that, place this on it, then pin down. So when you're done, okay, so just place this one here, and then cut it also. Okay, so this is it. So what you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and then stitch. Okay, stitch like this, like this, like this. Then do the same thing with this one. Okay, stitch like this, like this, like this. So I'm going to do just that, and then I will show us. After sewing, I went ahead to iron. So this is it. So I turn from this point. Okay, so this is the space I use in turning. Just folded it inward and then iron. Okay, so this is also the space I use in turning. Okay, from this point that we turn with, we are going to fold inwards like this and then iron. Okay guys, so after ironing, we're going to bring the shirt dress. So for me, I'm going to place it around here. Okay, so this is where I'm going to place mine. So wherever you decide to place it, if you want to go down a bit or go up, however you want to place it, what you're going to do, just stop stitch by 0.2. okay, only at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and then fix mine, then I will show us the outcome. Okay, so this is it after joining. Okay, so what we are going to do, I'm going to go ahead and then iron out. What we are going to do is we are going to cut out strap for the sleeve. We are going to cut out a strap for the sleeve. So it's going to be about 8 inches width. Okay, and then 21 inches long, like this. I'm going to connect this line like this. We are going to also cut out on our fabric. Okay, so I'm going to fold it because I'm cutting 2 pieces for both sleeve. So what we are going to do next, we are going to sew. So just go ahead, place it on fold and then sew like this. Okay, you leave our space for turning. So I'm going to sew this and then I'll bring it back. Okay guys, so this is it after sewing. Okay, so I already trim off the excesses. I stitched by 1/2 inch and then I trim off the excesses. So I left that space that I will use to turn. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and then turn. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and then iron out very well. So after ironing, this is it. This is actually a strap and the strap is going to be on our wrist. Okay, so this is the shirt. Okay, so this particular strap we just made now is going to be on the wrist like this. Okay, so we are going to place it like this. So recall at the start of this tutorial, I told us that we are going to be needing press button. So this is press button. Okay, so after placing this strap on your wrist, So however you want it to be, if you want it tight, if you want it loose, however you want it is on you. Okay, it depends on you. So just fix your press button at that point. Okay, normal way of fixing press button, and then you just lock at that point. Okay, this is it for this particular tutorial. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to iron out and then fix my button and then turn. Okay, so we are basically done. The only thing left now is the button. So you are going to go ahead and then fix your button and then hem. Also, you decide how you want to hem. You can choose to hem with hemming gum. Okay, you can choose to top stitch. Okay, just top stitch. So however you want it is on you. It depends on what you want. So this is actually the end of this tutorial. So I'm going to fix my button and then hem, and then I will show us the finished look. Thank you so much for watching. Okay guys, so this is it after fixing the button. Okay, so I use a distance of 3 inches apart. Okay, so guys, I'm going to wear this, I'm going to fit it, and then I'll show us the final look. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I'm going to wear this and then I'll show us how it look on me. Here comes the final look. Thank you so much for watching. So if you recreate this, please tag me on Instagram at Dress to Fit by Lillian so I can post your pictures. Thank you so much. See you on my next video.